right, we are back today for a very special episode. Eric, you want to take it away for us?
Yeah, today we're going to talk a little bit more about balance and just some of the challenges that can come up with trying to be balanced. So we do talk a lot about man, so many different trauma-informed care pieces or different aspects of trauma or the impact, but one of the ways of managing those wounds is balance. So Tiffany and I kind of thought we'd mix it up a little bit today and kind of do a check-in, so to speak, of like how we're doing balancing things a little bit, not to overshare with you guys, but just to kind of talk about what that really looks like, what's going well, what's challenging, and maybe kind of what some of our goals are for the next few weeks. So, Tiffany, I thought we could do it like interview style a little bit, just ask each other questions and kind of not like we're being therapists to each other right now, but I'm sure some of the questions you and I will ask each other are things we would maybe ask a patient if we were exploring this with them. So I'll let you pick, Tiffany. Would you rather be interviewing me first, or would you like to be interviewed first?
Uh, let's just get the interview out of the way. Let's do it.
So, Tiffany, when you think of your balance, managing stress, work-life balance, zero is like it's not balanced at all, and it's the worst it could be. 10 is it's as good as it could be. Where would you put that for you?
Oh man. If I'm being honest, I would say it fluctuates between like a three and like a six.
What makes it a three instead of a six?
There are some days where just like I as a human struggle to like maintain consistent boundaries and overschedule myself. And then I don't have the time that I'd like to have to like fully rest, re-engage and like do self-care at the beginning and the end of the day. And the sixes are those days where I like can maintain my boundaries and I get my 2 hours at the end of the day to like just chill out and do my journaling and have some time.
When you're journaling, is that like the best way you shift gears from things?
Ooh, I think for me, I need a physical shift. So if I'm shifting from like work to home, I usually come home and like take like a little mini shower so that I can like wash the day off. Otherwise, like my brain will still stay in the work mode. I need something to like kind of uh physically help me to like transition out of work brain.
For you, Tiffany, like what do you think is the trade-off or best piece of like when you're in a more balanced place, what's the payoff? Like, what's the benefit for you when that happens?
When I'm in a more balanced place, I'd say the best trade-off is one, being more present, like with myself and being able to enjoy like present moments better. And then two, like I'm just able to show up as like myself in a way that's not irritable and frustrated and low energy, and still have to like get things done. Which on some level I understand some people like don't have that choice, but
Hmm, this is helpful. This is helpful. What's stopping you from raising your score of maybe feeling the balance, do you think?
um I think for me personally, my like to get my score to like eight, a nine, a 10, I would definitely be working less, a lot less, and being home a lot more and just doing a lot more like calming activities and like low engagement activities, which sounds great. My brain is like, this would be awesome. But realistically, it's not something that current world atmosphere or current like situation allows, given like financial boundary, like financial restrictions and things of that nature. Um, as much as I would love to be like, I'm gonna go all out and just take today off and like sit at home and like crochet while I watch a crime documentary, we don't always have that luxury.
It's fair. That's fair. So in an ideal world, you would be able to do most of that or a lot more of that.
Yeah, in an ideal world, yes, I'd be able to be like, oh, today's just gonna be an off day. Just gonna do nothing.
One of my favorite questions to ask people. So Tiffany has no idea where these questions are coming from. So this is fun for me. I feel like this is payback, Tiffany, for all the times I was on the hot seat. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, if you were to have won the lottery of $15 million tomorrow, Tiffany, and you had $15 million in your bank account, what's the first change you make, do you think, to your schedule?
The first change to my schedule?
Hmm.
Hmm. I guess I would like reduce the overall amount of work I would do every day, but I would still work. That's a hard question because my brain tells me that like I don't know that I would make necessarily a schedule change. Like potentially definitely working less so then I can enjoy more like free days would be the only change I could think of. I immediately go to the I'm going to financially create a pillow so then I could like calmly still work in a way that like makes sense for me without having to stress about overworking. And then probably donating a crap ton of the rest because that's a lot of money.
It would be a lot of money. I know it's just big enough to feel like you probably can do what you would want to do, which is I like that number. Um, what do you think, Tiffany, when you look at like maybe the next few months with the end of year maybe approaching, what do you want to maybe work on for yourself with balance,
Oh,
with the remaining months of this year? We are almost on that back last quarter of this year.
I know. It's crazy. Um, well, I know the next month is gonna be chaos. I'm trying to make sure I stay balanced, but like in the process of closing and moving, I don't, it's been hard. Definitely harder to find like the balance time. Um, and then going to try and take off some around the holidays, but like also in such a way that like makes sense for me because I'm not the biggest holiday fan. So it doesn't necessarily bother me to work more on the holidays, but still taking time to like myself to like appreciate some of the downtime around the holidays.
What's your favorite holiday tradition?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know if I have one since I'm not a big holiday fan. Um, I would say if there was one holiday uh moral I try to live by all year is like the spirit of Christmas of like that always giving, always being nice and courteous to others.
What would people in your life say your balance is?
Mm, I think a lot of people would probably say I don't have a balance. And then some people would probably say me sitting at home watching TV or reading my books would be how I balance the chaos.
Hmm. What would your animals say?
Um, they probably would say that I'm not home enough, despite the fact that I'm home quite often. They always like to be underfoot.
What's the best advice you've ever gotten
Ooh, the best
about
advice
balance?
ever gotten. Mm, I don't quite remember where I've gotten this advice, and I've used it a couple times when working with people, is that time is your real money, and you want to make sure you're getting like quality for your money, um, and spending your time wisely as you would like actual money, because that's the non-refundable money that you have in life is time. Like you'll never get it back. You like how you spend it determines like how you feel about the moments afterwards.
Is there anything you wanted to talk about for balance, Tiffany, that you don't feel like you've had the chance to talk about?
I think the only kind of last thing that to put out there is that balance isn't going to be 100% all the time. Um, Hence the reason mine is like 3 to 6. Like there are some days where like I unfortunately was a little too human and I don't have the ability to be as balanced as I want to be. Or life is happening and I don't have the space to be as balanced as I consistently would want to be. And just like reminding everyone that balance is going to look different every day for every single person, and like that's okay.
I love that. Well, I would say you get a B plus, Tiffany. I feel like you did a great job. You faced it. You dove right into the deep end of the pool, jumped right in. How are you feeling with that score? Fair or an unfair grade?
It's my brain is like, why are we being what's the rethink for scoring us our productivity?
Oh, I'm not saying productivity. I'm just scoring how you engaged, Tiffany. I also know that you are into scales, so I thought I just wanted to kind of see your reaction, knowing it wasn't an A plus, but that was a little twisted. I feel like I've gotten it out of my system. This is good. This is good. First take.
First take, I'm not a big fan of the A to A to whatever, A to E grading scale. It just feels very like maybe classist isn't the word that I want to use, but
It's
like
definitely system, isn't it?
yeah, it's definitely a system and it likes to put people in its place and I don't like it.
We'll just say you passed. Pass
Okay.
fail. Is that
That's better.
okay? I saw if anyone could see Tiffany's face. It's not that much better, but it's a little better for Tiffany.
It's like fine.
Oh my God, this is awesome. This is my favorite episode so far. Just watching Tiffany's face as I like throw these things out. Oh my goodness.
All right. Is it
Well, I
your
think
turn
it's
to
my
be in the hot
turn.
seat?
Yeah, I think it is. Fair is fair. I enjoyed my time being the interviewer, though, so thank you.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna dive into Eric's scale of balance. Where do you put yourself?
Um, Same scale as zero is not balanced at all. Ten's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would also say like a two or three being up front. I did just finish going back to school. So that has felt really nice. But I think I'm in this transition of because I've finished school, I feel like I'm catching up on a lot of things that I just didn't have the spoons and uh, bandwidth for. Um, and just a lot of demands with as we're recording this, I don't know when we'll get this one out, but it's back to school season. So typically that is a time where my caseload's pretty busy and I tend to be pretty busy. And so I try to remember that. But I tell you what, back to school, the school calendars this year were very spread out, which you might be thinking, oh, that makes it easier. But it really doesn't because now it's just been 4 weeks of waves of back to school versus usually it's like a week and a half and then I'm kind of okay, like things are back to normal. Um, yeah.
Yeah, August is for sure a crazy time. Every time uh August gets here, I'm always like, all right, how many colors are gonna show up on my calendar this August?
Well, and it's not just like because I think people talk about like the holidays or something like that stress, but it's like there's May when everyone's graduating or there's all this stuff, and then there's August, right? So I mean, I would say those two, and I would label the holidays as like Halloween on is when it starts. Not I would really put the challenge that that is when the holidays are starting or preparations. You got things, so it's a lot of the year. So I think we're in the busier, fuller part of the year for a lot of people.
Oh yeah. Yeah, every time someone's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm excited about Halloween." Do you get the same kind of like pit of your stomach like, "Here comes the
Yes.
holiday rush?"
I do. I mean, I love the holidays. I love watching people get to have fun and enjoy themselves however they do. But no, I mean it's flying. I mean time is not equal, and you know, Tiffany and I have had conversations off mic of, just trying to make sure we have enough time to do this well and plan out things and keep up with the podcast and like make sure we're honoring the vision we have for this and ourselves and making sure that we're bringing relevant topics and things that we would want to hear someone talk about, which is why we kind of have this slightly different idea today. I so yeah, I think there's just a lot of things, and I think sometimes it depends on like where my focus is. So, am I noticing my empty cup? So, oh my God, I really haven't had time to go travel the way I want to, or oh, I really haven't had time to slow down the way I want to. Like I could look at that, or I could be in a place of gratitude, like, well, hey, look, I've gotten to spend a little extra time with my family, or hey, I was able to communicate my needs and people worked with me kind of thing. So I think it also depends on the perspective I have that day. Like if I feel overwhelmed and sit in that, I come at it from everything's overwhelming and oh my gosh. And that tends to shape a lot of things for myself. Uh,
Yeah. It's like perspective can make a big difference in how you view balance for the day.
100%. 100%. I think I can tell pretty quickly how it's going, whether I'm appreciating my coffee or I'm just downing it. Like, get that. Let me get this coffee going.
What for you, like what does having like a highly balanced day look like?
Um, Margins throughout the day, time for admin work, time to slow down if I need to, check-ins mentally, movement, not just sitting in the same space. What I'd like to do is have it spread out throughout the day. It seems like my breaks and slow down it tends to be in the evenings, which just means that it's very busy before. So I'm trying to work on being up a little earlier, having a little more time on the front end, not just on the late end, and that kind of helps. And then just not overextending. I do have to remind myself, like not like just scheduling clients, but meetings or things I'm working on that I really shouldn't be scheduling like 7, 8 hours straight of that. Like I need to, even if it's just a 15-minute, go eat some food, go ground outside if the weather's permitting, or shift my perspective, think about something else like that. That is, I tell my patients legitimately, you need to slow down to speed up sometimes so that they'll like value this. And so it's just interesting. And I know I'm not the only therapist, but I'll tell on myself, it's like we give a lot of great advice. Sometimes it's hard to take our own advice that we give our patients too.
Guilty as
So
charged.
if any of my patients were to find this episode, they would be giggling because I do try to be real. I know we have different therapy styles, but I try to relate to that humanness, that like to be human is to be overwhelmed, and there's different levels of humanity and neurospiciness and things, but I really do relate to that feeling a little overwhelmed and not sure how to move forward sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. I know for the people that I work with, it can be very powerful to help them hear that we do not have all of our ducks in a row. We are also chasing them as well. um, I guess for you, and talking about balance and thinking about balance, your favorite question, if you won the lottery, how would you change your schedule?
You know, thank you for asking that. Such a great question. No, I'm just kidding. I stole it from someone else. really, what would be the biggest difference? Well, I think I would have a peace that maybe I don't feel like I have. But then I think about, every other moment in my life where I've accomplished something, I've moved the goalpost. So I'd love to say, hey, I would have this. So I think I would have to honestly like meet with a financial planner, meet with maybe a financial counselor, like, and really explore what that would look like. Cause I honestly, if I'm just being real, I think I would move the goalposts. And I don't know if I'm sure I would take a nice trip or take some time off. But I guess at that point, you could live your life for your passions. And I am blessed that I am really passionate about therapy. I could see myself maybe trying to be more niche, or maybe I set up a trust and I just help who I want to help for therapy and don't have to charge. And I could just, be whatever, like, which may sound crazy to some people, but if
No,
you
that
know
sounds like
me,
a wonderful idea. I'm sitting here like, man, that's great idea.
I know. I was like, I would set up a trust enough to live on whatever it was supposed to be. Maybe I would do a few things on the side, but I think I would just spend my time giving it away to things I believe in, my family. I think I'd do more with my family and maybe donate my time to some charities or nonprofits and just do some stuff like that because I could and didn't feel like I had to. Um, But I like that question. To me, that question's like, okay, if you weren't doing everything for the money, what would you do? And so I think that it's encouraging to be like, oh, I wouldn't change everything about my life, but it does, that's enough money to change a lot of things, which is not because they're like wanting us to sound like we're greedy or but just more of like, hey, that would be a really cool change in all our lives, I think.
Yeah. Like that's one of the things where like as you're talking about my brain again goes, well, yeah, I don't know that I could give this up because it is something that I'm passionate about. I like but the idea of like if you win the lottery and volunteering for like pro bono services, my brain's like, oh, that would be fantastic. Great way to like continue to give back. What kind of activities do you do outside of work to help you like create a healthy balance or maintain a work-life balance?
I jokingly, well, more seriously, I have like a council of people that I'll talk to. I call them my advisory council, so like my close friends and colleagues. So, you know, um, I think I've developed honest relationships with them. Tiffany is on this council, where there may be a, hey, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Do you need anything? Or if I did need something, I could like reach out to. So I try to stay in contact with them and make time for them. Um, I like my coffee in the morning. I think everyone knows this, even strangers, because I talk about it so much. And I like to have things to look forward to. I think that's really mentally helpful. I don't know if it was a research study, it probably was, but it was like if you're planning a vacation trip or if you're planning something out, something to look forward to, like sitting there and revisiting that memory ahead of time, you can get a little more pleasure from it, have that anticipation, not where you're overhyping it, but just able to use that for some maybe dopamine or some stress relief. Uh, and just that can be really nice. So, um, I'm kind of picturing it right now a little bit. So I have some trips I'm looking forward to, some things I'm taking time to do with my family. Um, so those are the things I kind of like to do. I also like to accomplish things though. So sometimes I like to knock something out, a project, and that feels satisfying in a fulfilling way.
Mhm.
Um, I would say honestly, I'm having to reset what my expectations are as a partner, um, as a dad, and just as like a person who's finished school. So like honestly, like I have been maybe feeling more like, oh, I need to survive this or get through this, which, if anyone's in school or been in school, I think you know that feeling that I'm talking about. So I'm kind of having to recalibrate a little bit, which I'm looking forward to, but I also know that that's a messy process where I'll probably get some things right, get some things wrong. But I am excited to work on it. Um, Excited to see what is possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just trying trial and error for better lack of better terms.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Have I dodged any of your questions, Tiffany?
I don't think so. Uh I try to think. Any more balance questions? Um Anything that I didn't ask that you wanted to talk about?
I don't think so. I appreciate you willing to experiment with me on this.
Yeah, of course. Experimentation helps us grow. Oh, man. Yeah. Any balance resources we should tell our listeners about?
Um I think just like knowing that like why Tiff like the pitch Tiffany and I when we were talking about this was just like we need real examples and not so like polished. So I think maybe having realistic expectations. So social media can be fun and silly and encouraging. It also can be a social comparison loop that can be really unhelpful for a lot of people. Um, so I think just like being mindful of like what are you comparing yourself to? Like for example, um, you know, we envy is not helpful. It's not usually a helpful feeling. So I could look at someone that has a nicer house than me or a home and be like, oh my gosh, like they don't, why do they have that? Or I could be like, hey, I have my own space and like sit in gratitude. And that's like a one kind of financial example, but one I hear about and see a lot is people comparing their mental health symptoms. So, like my anxiety, I get really stressed and I start doing things. So I could post, I don't, but I guess I could see a world in which I post, oh, look at all the stuff I got done, and people being like, oh my God, my anxiety is paralyzing. And I sit in analysis paralysis. Um, but it's like we're not choosing how our symptoms show up. So I guess maybe resourcing is just being mindful of like what are you consuming? So mindful consumption of social media, what are you comparing yourself to? And just even like when you're consuming that, so like they talk a lot about don't go to the grocery store hungry. Maybe don't go on social media feeling really lonely, like that may not help, or going on social media feeling really insecure. um, the algorithm's just brutal. It just analyzes all of it. Oh, scroll stopped. Oh, they clicked. Oh, and then it starts feeding more of that. Like, and it's a pretty tough cycle to break. So that's my shameless plug. I'm not trying to demonize social media, but just being aware of how it impacts us. Even me as I'm talking, I know that maybe social media has shaped how I'm even talking about it.
Yeah, social media is a tricky one. It's very heavy in the pros and cons.
What would you say, Tiffany?
Uh, hmm. I don't want to I'm not trying to promote or get money from, but the Finch app, I would say, is a great little way to help people entry into learning balance as you figure out what's important for you to take care of to help you feel rested and recharged.
Well, I feel rested and recharged just hearing that. I just had the biggest yawn of my life. So sorry, Tiffany, but I do like the FinChat. We're not sponsored, so this is not a ad.
And no ads, we don't make any money, but I do enjoy the little hey, your burb's thinking about you, or how are you doing today? It's gentle little reminders of oh, how have I been doing this morning? But
I
yeah,
love
I
it.
would say that's kind of my main balance reminder.
Oh. Well, thank you, Tiffany, for being willing to go on this experiment with me. We've done this for a minute, so to do something totally new is fun and exciting, a little spicy to start our days.
Yeah, gotta throw some extra spice in there somehow every once in a while. Uh, all right, any last wrap ups?
I don't think so. I appreciate you all listening with us. If anybody has any ideas for things they'd like to hear or approach, or just things that you'd want more of from us, please let us know. I do love getting those comments and feedback things. It's been very helpful for us. So thank you for those who are doing it.
Yes. And until next time, keep growing.